What up, what up, what up, you guys? It's Blackwing 2040. Welcome back to the Power Rangers Marathon. Today, we are in for a treat because today's review is Power Rangers Dino Thunder. And boy, the Disney era is really the start of just the start of the Disney era in general. It's just powerful. It's just some great, fantastic storytelling. It's just it's just amazing. And Dino Thunder is a season that I would definitely say it's a legacy season done so well. I can't deny how much I love this season. Of course, with this season, we're back in a high school. We got new Rangers, new teenagers with attitude, might I add, and also the return of Ranger Jesus, the living legend himself, Tommy Oliver. But all of that aside, let's talk about some of the other things, like the suits, for instance. I remember the first time the teaser trailer for Dino Thunder came up, and when I saw those suits, I was like, whoa. I'm like, these suits look so cool. And they still do. And they still do. They still freaking do. Because just, I like the, not triangle or diamond pattern on the shoulders, on the sleeves, and on the legs of the suits, and on the boots. It's really great. And especially how Tommy's and Trent's suits are totally different from the main three. Tommy's got shoulder pads, which is really cool, and Trent has like a, I would say it's a vest, but I don't want to say it's a drag. It's a little different. It's different from the Dragon Shield, but I just love how it is. And then of course the Super Dino mode aspect of the suits, how the patterns grow spikes out of them. I was like, whoa, that's what makes the suits pop. That's what makes them look aesthetically cool and appealing to look at. Alright, so let's talk about this story. The story is first sorry. We begin our story on an island, and of course we are reintroduced to Ranger Jesus himself, Tommy Oliver, who is fighting off an army of Tyrannodrones, who are the first Disney exclusive foot soldiers that we have this season. And I kind of liked it. I really do like their design. And of course, huge props to our originality as well, because who doesn't love originality? So Tommy escapes from an island that was basically sinking into the ocean, and then years later he appears at Reefside High School as a paleontologist teacher at Reefside High. And here we're introduced to our new teenagers with attitude: Connor, who is a soccer player, Kira, who's a singer, and Ethan, who is a gamer. And also Principal Randall, who secretly is a woman named Elsa who works for the main baddie of the season, Mesag. And Mesagog's main plan is to turn the Earth back to the era of the dinosaurs. Kind of different on how every past villain just wants to, rule the Earth, take it over, while Mesagog's plan is totally different. He just wants to transfigurate the Earth back to the era of the dinosaurs. I'll give him props for originality. Not doing the whole take over the world thing. So, again, props for originality. And another thing about this season, the season also reaches the 500 episode mark of Power Rangers, and we're given the legacy episode, The Legacy of Power, which basically tells the entire franchise of the Power Rangers through a video diary that Tommy left for the Rangers in case something bad happened to him. And that's where, the Rangers discover that Tommy was a Ranger himself. He was evil at first. You guys know the story. We all know the story. So he tells the story from Mighty Morphin all the way to Ninja Storm, leading up to the present point at that time in the episode of Dino Thunder. And also later on in the show, we're introduced to a character named Trent, who becomes the next additional member of the team, the White Dino Ranger. First, he starts off evil, and then he sort of, becomes the good guy of the team, because a little similarities here, because, of course, Tommy was evil at first. Trent, he started out as evil. He got, I wouldn't say possessed, but the power of his Dino Gem is the thing that drove him to become evil. And I kind of like how they said this in the show, The gem gives, its user its drive, for a fight. Like, they're always going to be looking for a battle. So hence why the White Ranger arc is probably one of my favorite arcs in the entire show, because let me tell you something. Trent was giving them hands. I would say he was giving them more hands than Tommy ever did back at MMPR. So Trent was, really giving the Dino Thunder Rangers, them hands. He was smacking them around everywhere, especially with his weapon, the pen. It's a pen, but of course it's also, a weapon. It's a sword at the same time. And very creative how he could just, like, draw like an X on them and then it just explodes. It's again, it's amazing, really amazing. And I also really love how, again, this season, every character develops, even the side characters. It fleshes out everyone completely well, and that's what I love so much about this season. And not only that, we get another epic team up. And of course, this is the first team up here in the Disney era, Thunderstorm, where it's just great to see, the Ninja Storm Rangers, Tori, Shane, and Dustin. First, they're evil, possessed by Lothar, and it was cool to see these three, these main three Rangers going up against their previous, predecessors. And I love the fight that they had with them out of suit, just, using their actual powers. Connor using his super speed against Shane's air, Dustin using his earth powers against, Ethan's unbreakable skin, Kara using her Terra Scream against Tori's water abilities. It was just amazing. And just the team up itself was just epic. And I also have to say, this season also has, one of my favorite Battleizer episodes. Just the episode, not the Battleizer itself. But I'll talk about that when I get to Connor. But, oh my gosh, everything just flows so well. Especially during the clip show episode where they're all reflecting on how far they come. And it shows in their characters. It really shows. And then at the end, it just wraps it all up in the bow. They defeat Mesag in Super Dino mode using every ounce of power that they have. And then at the end, they celebrate with prom, and the show is over. I cannot express how much I loved Dino Thunder. It's just really awesome. And another thing I would like to say, I really do adore how they gave them, actual abilities, from the power of the Dino Gems, because they didn't have that in its Sentai counterpart, Abba Ranger. And speaking of Abba Ranger, this show actually let them watch an episode of their Sentai counterpart, which was amazing. I keep leaving out so many things, but that was also amazing. And just to, point this out to fans who don't really like, who don't like Sentai or just feel a little uneasy of starting Sentai, I advise you to watch this episode of Dino Thunder called Lost and Found in Translation, because it is just amazing just to see how, it's different, but, once you give it a shot, you may actually enjoy it. Connor really established that when at first he was really heated and steamed from watching, his Sentai counterpart. He even said, he is nothing like me. And then actually deciding to watch the entire episode, and he ends up enjoying it. It's just, that's why I recommend you guys check out that episode. That episode specifically. If you're very uneasy of watching Sentai, I recommend that you check out that episode. And then come back to me. Alright, so let's start talking about our characters, shall we? First off, our Red Ranger, Connor. Now, Connor is, again, I am amazed at how much development Connor has gotten. Because in the beginning, Connor, Kara, and Ethan, they didn't like each other. Like, they could not stand each other in the first episode. And then, of course, as the show progresses, they're forced to work together, and they get used to each other. Now, Connor's specific moment, he's a soccer player, he's a jock, and he also feels very uneasy about his Ranger duties, because throughout the show, he feels doubts that, he's not cut out to be a Ranger. he never expected, you know, this Ranger stuff to interfere with his personal lives. And there are moments where he actually comes to Tommy for advice about this, because Tommy's been through this too. And especially in the Battleizer episode, The Passion of Connor, where again he doubts himself, saying like, sometimes I wonder I'm not cut out to be, you know, a superhero. And Tommy just tells him like, you know, there's more, you have more power in yourself than you have even tapped into. More than just, you know, his, you know, Super Dino mode or his Triassic mode that he gets later on in the show. And it's just so much how first he starts off cocky, you know, as a jock would, and then later on he actually develops as a ranger and as a leader. Because there are moments in the show where, you know, when Trent joins the team, he is very, very heated about, you know, Trent joining the team, because Trent was really burning them over and over and over again. When I mean burning, I don't mean it, you know, literally, figure of speech. But it was just, his development really shows. And then in his Battleizer episode, there's a girl he has a huge crush on, and he tries to impress her, but he kind of, you know, fakes it. But instead, he actually does appeal to her and tries to, you know, show some compassion and actually tell her, you know, people can change. And he actually does, you know, end up taking that girl that he likes to prom at the end of the show. So Connor really, as a Red Ranger, he's really great. Really, really great. Alright, next up is Kira. Kira is, you know, of course the only girl on the team. And you know, she really does stands out, and she really does how, you know, to, you know, step up some moments. And she was always the person to vouch for Trent. Always. Heck, she even had a thing for Trent during the show. So the moments where she always has to put up with, you know, Connor and Ethan's antics, she's sometimes the moments where, you know, she has to, you know, set them straight. And I also kind of say, you know, her being a singer, it kind of works well, you know, especially with her having the terror scream and she's a singer, you know, strengthen the vocal cords. I would say, you know, she's like, you know, she's basically like the Black Canary of the team. She can fight well, she sings, and she has a strong scream. Connor, I would say he's kind of like the Flash of the team. Cocky, because Flash is very cocky, and it has the super speed to go with it as well. So, but Kira, she's a really great Yellow Ranger, and I just love her on-screen chemistry with, you know, from the beginning of the show to the end. And, you know, Connor and Ethan are basically like, you know, her Ranger blood brothers, if I would say. And I don't really have anything bad to say about her. Alright, next up is Ethan. Can I just say how Ethan is the first Ranger to crack a hairline joke in this show? Because I was blown away many times, because of course, you know, hairline jokes were very in this, you know, this past decade. But oh my gosh, Ethan being the first Power Ranger ever to crack a hairline joke, that's one thing I'm crediting him for. And another thing I'm crediting him for, a black nerd. Represents all my black nerds out there. And I just love how sometimes his chemistry with Connor always bounces off of each other, because Connor's always trying to, you know, try to understand Ethan's, you know, love for, you know, playing video games and everything. And Ethan always tries to understand Connor's, you know, cocky attitude from time to time. But overall, they just, you know, their vibes together with each other are just awesome. They're really awesome. And Ethan he's one of the characters that knows how to, you know, tries to find the good in people. For instance, his sort of small relationship that he had with Cassidy. He's able to see that she actually is a good person. And I'll go deeper into that when I get to Cassidy. But overall, I love Ethan. He's fun. He's witty. I love how he cracks a lot of jokes. He is just awesome. And with him having unbreakable skin, of course, I'm going to have to say he's, you know, Luke Cage. He's basically the Luke Cage of the team. Alright. Now onto the legend himself, Tommy. Now, seeing Tommy, you know, appear in the mentor role here, it's very, very well written. Of course, the downside is he's absent. Well, JDF is absent for like 13 episodes this season because there's a portion in the show where he's stuck in his suit and he can't unmorph, and he stays that way for like 13 episodes. But one shining moment, of course, for Tommy in this season, of course, you guys know Fighting Spirit, where Tommy fights off his 3 past Ranger selves, and oh my gosh, when I saw that episode was so unbelievable. And just seeing him fight his Red CO counterpart, his White Ranger counterpart, and I always get chills when he fights his Green Ranger counterpart because they have a rendition, a rescore of, you know, the Dragon Dagger flute song, and I just love how Tommy pulls it out of the tree and he's like, I thought I might run into you. I was like, come on, let's go. It's just awesome. And it's great how Tommy is able to, you know, share his past experiences with, you know, this new team, these new individuals who are Rangers, because whatever tools Tommy learned back during his Ranger days, he passes down to this generation. And that's, you know, that's a great, you know, passing of the torch / teaching skill for Tommy throughout this season. And it's really cool to see Tommy just, you know, evolve from, you know, student to, you know, legendary Ranger to now mentor. It's just, Tommy's up there as, like, you know, mentor / Ranger as well. So Tommy gets, like, huge extra props. Plus, you guys already know, it's Tommy. And last but not least, Trent. Trent is a badass. He really is a badass, because I can say, you know, he kind of got nerfed when he turned good, but when he was evil, Trent was a badass. And when he has his, you know, Super Dino mode, bruh, that form within itself, whoo, is sick. That form is straight up sick. And Trent, for him, of course, he has this burden because his father, Anton Mercer, is Mesagog, and I'll get deeper into that when I get to Mesagog. So him having to, you know, keep that a secret from his teammates, of course, it was hard for him. And when the Rangers were, like, really, you know, uneasy on, like, should we keep him around because he's been keeping this secret from us for a very long time now. Should we keep him or on the team or no? And especially with Connor. Connor was very furious about, like, you know, I don't think he should be on the team anymore. And Tommy was like, well, it's your vote. It's your vote. Me, if whatever the case it is, I'll have to, you know, ask him to give up his morpher, and he can't be a Power Ranger anymore. So I loved how during that episode, Connor basically had the final vote. Connor had the final say. And Trent was he was able to, you know, leave it out on the field because he didn't care. Because he was always there for his teammates, no matter what. No matter what burden he had, he was always there for his friends. And that's another thing what I love about Trent. And he's an artist. That's another thing. He's an artist. And his Dino Gem energy basically gives him, you know, camo ability. He can, you know, blend in with the environment. And another thing I didn't mention for, you know, Tommy's ability, his Dino Gem ability gives him invisibility. And that's pretty cool. Alright, now on to, you know, allies and secondary characters. First off, Haley. Haley is the owner of Haley Cyberspace, which is, of course, the main hangout area this season. And Haley's also the tech genius and the person who creates their gear for the Rangers. She created their Raptor cycles. She created, you know, their weapons. You know, she built the morphers and everything. She developed everything for the team. And, of course, she met, you know, Tommy back when Tommy went to grad school. I mean, grad school, college, it's, you know, that's where she met Tommy. But other than that, you know, there's nothing bad to say about Haley. Of course, she's just that, you know, she's a good asset to the team. That's what I like about Haley. All right, our comedic duo this season, Cassidy and Devin. Now, I would say they're my favorite comedic duo. And another thing, of course, the actress who played Cassidy also played Mara in Ninja Storm, and of course there's a little bit in the team up episode where Mara and Cassie kind of, you know, walk past each other and they just say, there's this moment they say, like, Cassie, I mean, like, Devin, did you see that girl? She is so stunning. stunning. Capri, did you see that girl? She is so stunning, but I am like totally pretty. Yeah, I kind of like, I like what they did there. It was cool. It was really cool how they just noted like, oh yeah, this actress plays both characters. So it was nice. It was nice. And Cassidy, she wants to be a reporter, and one of her big assignments throughout the season was to find the identity of the Power Rangers. And of course, that's something what Bulk and Skull did, in MMPR season 2. And here she actually does end up finding out the identity, but she doesn't give it to her reporter boss because she decides she wouldn't want to make her life happier and make their lives miserable because the Rangers have done so much for them, so she owes them big time. I mean, they owe her big time, so she kind of pays them back, and it's cool. And of course, Devin is basically her cameraman, and it's just the comedic moments of how Cassie kind of rants on Devin anytime he screws something up. It's like it's like a polar opposite of Bulk and Skull, but their characters are really really interesting. All right, now on to villains. Let's talk about Mesag and also his human counterpart, Anton Mercer. I like how we got, a Jekyll and Mr. Hyde personality thing here. That's really cool. And I love how Anton Mercer is basically Trent's adoptive father. He's not his actual blood father. But that's one thing I wish they could have delved deeper on, of like, who were Trent's actual parents, but that's just me saying. But Mesag, he is a no-nonsense, no-tolerating, cold, vicious villain. He's genius, but he does not tolerate failure at all. He can't take it. He don't like it. So, excuse me. Mesag is definitely a force to be reckoned with, and he's really up there as one of the best Power Ranger villains ever. And he knows how to hold his own, and he was mopping the floor with Lothar in the team up episode, because I found it awesome to see two Power Ranger villains fight each other, and of course the main villains of the season wins in the end. But wow, it was just awesome. The fight choreography between Lothar and Mesag was brilliant, really brilliant. And Mesag, of course, he's just awesome. He's really awesome. And again, with Anton Mercer having to go through, those many drastic changes all the time, I love how, the makeup prosthetic that they went for him, just, anytime he has his Mesag change, it was beautifully shot, beautifully well done as well. Alright, next villain is Elsa. Elsa, who is also Principal Randall in disguise, she is a very formidable fighter. And, of course, when you're young, you put two and two together, like, oh, Elsa is, Principal Randall. So, but, she's a formidable fighter. She, she has her moments. And, of course, later on at the end where, Mesag kind of rids her of her evil power and she goes back to being her normal civilian self again, I found that pretty cool as well. But there are moments where, when she's a principal and how she just like, she really, rats on the students and everything. She's like, I wouldn't want to have her as a principal. Trust me, I wouldn't. And the last character to talk about is Zeltrax. Zeltrax is my favorite general of all time. Really, he is my favorite Power Rangers general of all time. Yes, I even say I like him more than Ecliptor. Now with Zeltrax, he has history with Tommy, because originally he was a human named Smitty, and he got caught in a experiment gone wrong, and Mesag recreated him with cybernetic technology, and that's how Zeltrax came to be. So throughout this entire season, Zeltrax has a burning grudge against Tommy, because Tommy had no idea, was like, every time Tommy and Zeltrax fought, Tommy was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And then once Tommy was revealed that Zeltrax is Smitty, he just realized he just lost a good friend. And I love how, as much as Zeltrax fails throughout the show, he decides, to strike out on his own. Like, really, he abandons his he disowns Mesag for, everything that he's done. He just literally, he fends for himself. He's fighting Mesag, and he's also fighting the Rangers. He's a one-man show. And that's what I kind of like about Zeltrax. So, after all that being said, I love this season. Literally, this season is GOAT material. It's a great legacy season. I love how all the characters are fleshed out from beginning to end. It's just a beautiful, beautiful season. I love it. I don't know what else to say about Power Rangers Dino Thunder. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. In the comment section below, what did you love about Power Rangers Dino Thunder? Who was your favorite character? What was your favorite, aspect of the show? What was your favorite episode? Who was your favorite villain? And also another thing I might notice, this season this is a very small villain group. It's just Mesag, Elsa, and Zeltrax. And of course the evil White Ranger clone, but I don't really count him that much. But yeah, that's a small lineup of villains. Very small. But anyway, next time, stay tuned for my review of Power Rangers SPD, which is my favorite season in the Disney era. I'm so excited. I cannot wait to talk about SPD. Well, always, keep you guys, keep lookout for that review. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and click that bell to be notified. And as always, I am Vengeance, I am Darkness, I am Blackwing. Stay golden, and may the power protect you.